Hello and welcome back to Hobbs Rest in the Island Editor, Island Creator, Map Editor. I always forget what to call this thing. I've called it many things and it doesn't really matter. You can call it anything you like. It's an inanimate object. No, it's not. It's a program. Wow, what a way to start an episode. But here we are back on our new home island, what will be our new home island once we have finished building it. So we are still playing around with the terrain, unfortunately. Or fortunately, this is kind of the most... I suppose at this point the island is in its most fluxy state, so there are a bunch of things that we can and can't do to it. I'm not going to be putting trees and objects in at this point because we are still going to be pushing the terrain around. Speaking of terrain, if we click on the terrain, and we've got this button here, read terrain set height. Huh, what does that do? Well, if we grab these sliders, there we go. In fact, the size isn't going to matter. But the height is, we click on it, and then we click on the land. It sets the brush to the height. Thank you, Nanny Oggins, if that is your real name. Yes, that button has always been there, but for some reason I've not even looked at it. I don't know why. Probably because I spend so much time in Photoshop that you just kind of take this side panel completely for granted. I almost never look at it in Photoshop, and since it's there at the right-hand side of the screen, which is where I set everything up in Photoshop, I probably didn't even look at it. So yeah, we've got this island. We have kind of a curious shape to it. If we get low down, we actually get a better idea of what things are going to be like when we're sort of walking around the island. The beach here is not that wide. We have this kind of interesting cliff thing going on. We have a large, very deep inlet into this very high-sided valley, a fjord, if you will, which is good. This area here, with the accidental sort of hill thing going on, we also have these little, slightly wider beaches. Now, we put these bits of rock in as markers. They are going to be removed. I don't want to keep them around, but they kind of denote the beaches or main areas of focus for us when we are landing on our island. So we've got a beach here. It's got a bit of a water feature. We're going to put something, we're going to do something with some wreck here. Or, no, wreck, singular. It's going to be a wreck made up of several wrecks, plural. So that's going to be fun. We started off this little rivery, streamy thing, and then we decided this side of the island is probably best off if we had it sort of lower down. The central part of the island is kind of giving me a bit of a headache. I think one of the big problems is, and it's been pointed out before, you don't really know the size of your avatar. So you can put yourself kind of fairly close to the ground if you take an object. Items everywhere. We will find a barrel. A B barrel? Not this again. Barrel. Alphabetized, but for some reason I'm still not looking at it. I've had such a weird day today. So this barrel, you can actually jump on top of it. So I guess if we take 2 barrels, that's about the size of our avatar. Curious and more curious. There we go. That is the size of our little dude. I tell you what. Why don't we get a... Oh no! I know what we can do! Let's go to Misk. Yeah, you can see where this is going. We're going to make ourselves a surrogate avatar. It's probably going to be a little bit too big because I think we're probably about the size of 2 barrels. So the head is kind of a bit of a misnomer. Misnomer? That's not the right word, surely. A bit of a fallacy? Nope. Try again. A bit incorrect. Yeah, that'll do. So we need... what are we going to do? Well, we're going to have an axe. No, we're not. Let's delete that object. I want sticks, sticky sticks. There we go. Because we are going to create a little stick man, which we can use R to rotate. I'll tell you what, if you ever used a mechanical keyboard, it is such a delight to use. I see posts in forums all the time. They're like, oh, mechanical keyboards are the best thing since sliced oranges. And I'm like, yeah. Sliced oranges are pretty damn fine, but give me some context. Give me a reason why you like this sort of way of inputting data into your computer. It just tactile feedback, I think, is the way. We need to clone it. Press C to clone. That is pretty neat. So it keeps the rotation information, so we can just rotate it. There we go. And T to... There we go. So here is our little dude. I wish we could bind these objects together, kind of Garry's Mod style. That'd be neat. That'd be super cool. So we have a little dude. That represents our player. Kind of. I don't think we can move it around. Maybe that was a folly that we've just done, but we can always refer back to it. In fact, if we grab, I'll tell you what, if we grab an item, not an item, it's a structure, and it's going to be shipwreck 3A. Boop. Is that about the right size? Scary. Yeah, probably a little bit too big, but not bad. Not bad at all. So we'll get rid of that. We'll leave a little dude on the beach to give us kind of a rough idea of how high or low we need to be. We are kind of sort of doing stuff with the center of the island, I think. So we will go to terrain. We will go to set height. Do I want to punch this through here? Probably. I want to do something with the central area, because at the moment I'm kind of getting like a mental block over what we should do here. We can't leave it as a big old lump, because it just doesn't feel right. And we also need to sort of define areas for things like farms and buildings. We need plenty of space, but also at the same time, it needs to look fairly natural. I'm kind of going for a bit of a, I don't know, Cornish coast look. If you don't know what Cornwall is an area of the United Kingdom, and it is populated by short people who like digging holes in the ground, basically dwarves. I'm actually not even joking. You don't need to read the terrain height if you're using the raise and lower brush. Didn't even think about that. So we'll drop the amount down, bring the size up, and just kind of punch through here. Nope, that's lower, and we need to lower it. Okay, fine. Yeah, so Cornwall, famous for its tin mines, tin mining, other things that come out of the ground, arsenic, uranium. There's all sort of fun stuff related to tin mining. Quartz. There's an awful lot of quartz underground. Fool's gold, iron pyrite. And you might think, what the heck use is fool's gold? I don't know what fool's gold could be used for. Well, tell you what, you ever heard of a flintlock? Yep. You usually use iron pyrite on the striker, so you don't use flint as such. You would use a little bit of iron pyrite to create a spark. So that's a thing. I want the size down, don't I? Yeah, because I just want to take the edge off that. There we go. Yeah, this is good. Tricksy, but good. So this island might take a little bit more time to actually set up, because it's a bit more, I suppose, in terms of complexity, because the last island we did had 3 rivers running through it, joining in the middle. And that created a huge focal point in the middle of the island, which is great. You do want some sort of focal point for, if you're making a map for other players, you do want focal points, and you want to take into account paths and pathing as well, because human beings work on areas of least resistance. So you might craft a really nice island, but as soon as you get a load of players on it, and as soon as they've gone around it once and had a little explore, they're going to take the easiest path from A to B. So in order to stop them doing that, you tend to put things like walls and rocks and various bits and pieces in the way to prevent them from doing that. So I think what we can probably do is actually grab the set height, read that. Okay, yeah. I guess we didn't need to do that, but it's probably a good habit to get into. Grab the amount. Did that read there? Yeah, no, it does work. So the amount can go down a bit. There we go. And we can sort of push this in. Okay, we can always smooth this as well. That's not a problem. So we're kind of raising and lowering. I just want to make sure that's... Okay, fine. Yeah, okay. So can we read it from a little lower down? Is that going to work? Yeah, that's actually going to work real nice. Okay. So if we push it down far enough, we can start to get a little bit of sand showing through. Yeah. Okay. We can use that possibly to our advantage to make paths and things. Okay, cool. So we'll change the size up and just push this huge bank of dirt back. There we go. There we go. Yeah. This area might actually just need to be completely leveled. I don't really want to do that. Crank the amount up. There we go. Wow, that's much better. Huge amount of terrain deformation. There we go. Let's do that. So we have a beach here, completely nothing on it. We've got this area here. What we're going to do is push this, keep just pushing this down. Now, I thought we might sort of play around with is the idea of having sort of an internal forest. Oh, yeah, an internal forest. So let's smooth this terrain off. Grab this. Put some like standing stones and various bits and pieces in there. And what we could probably do to encourage, let's grab the amount and just really crank that up. To encourage people to actually go into these areas, you put resources. So you don't sort of have all your resources just in one area. It's like, is this area going to be used for gathering berries? Yes. Okay, we'll have that. That's actually a pretty decent idea. Why don't we grab some rocks, rocky rocks, rocks. Here we go. What rocks do we have to play around with? Curious. We got big rock. Let's get you off the ground and rotate you a little bit. It's kind of a big rock. There's another rock. Press T, bring you up. So I just want to see what we've got to actually play with here. We're going to be using the big rocks rather than the cliffs because these are actually quite big. That guy there, Big Rock 2, looks like a prime candidate. Okay. Big Rock 3 is... okay, it's not great. Let's get rid of you. Big Rock 5. Yeah, more like a meatball. Yeah, it's huge. Let's get rid of you. So then we go into the cliffs. Cliff. Mining rock, shoreline rock. Might actually be able to do something with that. Excuse me, croaky old voice there. Might be able to make a cairn. Not cairn. No, yeah, cairn. Like so a cairn is a stack of stones, where a cairn, as in cairn bray, is a burial site. Okay. So we've got these. I don't think these shoreline rocks are going to do us much good, so we'll get rid of those. Small rock. Now we're cooking with something that isn't electricity or coal. Yeah, let's go down, up. It looks like a really bad X-Men film with all the rocks floating around. You know it's going to be a bad X-Men's film when Jean Grey's like, hello, I'm going to be like, get really upset now, and they've introduced Phoenix. There's a character from the cartoons, not cartoons, the comics that destroys planets, but it's okay because we don't have Jean-Luc Picard anymore. Or do they? Never trust anything in American comic books. They tend to retcon everything. Right, so we got this guy here, and this is good. I like that. So we'll move you up there into our pile in the sky of stuff that we can actually use that isn't total poop. We've got this guy here, which is also quite nice. I like that. Hello. This guy here is huge. I think we might be able to do something with that. This one here is a little bit... I don't know. Let's get rid of you. All right. So, what are we going to do with this? What are we going to do with this? Oh, I tell you what. We don't... I mean, we've collapsed the old menu, but we can always just press C on the keyboard and clone any of these things. So what I'm going to do is straight play around and see if we can Easter Island this place up. Cool. This is going to be interesting. R to rotate. Let's grab you, put you there. Oh yeah. So this part of the center part of the island has been a bit of a problem for me because, like I said before, you start the island off, and you start off with a huge and blank canvas, and you're like, this is a huge and blank canvas. What am I going to do with this island? And then you just let your subconscious think about it. And what you do is you start coming up with these crazy, crazy ideas. I don't think that's quite what I'm looking for. It might be a little bit too big. We can always just hit R, rotate, and have standing stones instead. That is a definite possibility. So that's the wrong thing. We're going to have the blue bit, boop, in the ground. Standing stones typically would be in a circle, like a henge. Press R. I want to rotate it the other way up. Not that way, though. It's gone beyond the rotation value of the mousey thing. There we are. Just so I can have the XYZ coordinates shown to me in these lovely little colours. So what I'm going to do is pop that there. R. Rotate, T, knock it down to the ground. Okay, this large one here is kind of cool. Liking that. You can be quite big in the middle. We're going to rotate you a little bit. There we go. Now, it might look like but to begin with. But. I lost myself there for a moment. What we're going to do is throw a load of nature around it. So nature is real nice. Actually, that might be a good size for... That, yeah, a little fairy ring. Fairy rings typically made from mushrooms or fungus. They are a ring of fungus that goes out from a central point. And over the years, it gets wider and wider. It's because of the way that mushrooms work, partly because they throw spores out of the top in a circular motion, and partly because of I think it's just things like, is it underground root systems? Because it's technically a mold. Mold and fungus, the same thing? Oh my god, I don't know. That's wrong. Why can't I click on this item? Let's go underneath it so we can click on it. Click, click, click. No. Why is this item? There we go. We just had to throw ourselves into orbit. Okay. This might actually be useful somewhere else. Not here. I think. Let's put it over here. There's kind of no feature over here. Super. Is it Khan or Can? God damn it, I don't know. So I'm just talking to myself. Fine. C is going to clone that. And then we're going to do this. And then C is going to clone it. And we're kind of just roughly sketching out a circle. And we're going to put these in. We're going to also rotate them because you never have if you're going to be using the same object over and over again, you always want it to look different, at least in some way. So T, pop it into the ground. So it's rotated. Good. See what's going on here. So we can always put some like trees and various bits and pieces. I'll probably some bushes and things in here. I'm kind of cheating because I've seen stuff like this before in Cornwall. If you've ever been to the UK, Cornwall is... we already done this bit, but Cornwall's full of short people. Well, it's also home of the proper way of making a cream tea. Cream teas, famously, are made from tea. I don't know why I'm telling you that bit. Black tea, usually. You can also have cream, which is cream, jam, and scones. And that's actually the main bit of a cream tea. And the way you do it is it's kind of a bone of contention between people in Cornwall and people in Devon. People in Devon always do it wrong because they're objectively incorrect. But the way you do it is you take your scone, and it's a scone because there is an E on the end. E is a modifier, not a scone, like northern people would say. I don't get those people. But it's a scone, and you cut it in half. And you add jam, then cream. If you do it the other way around, you're from Devon and a heathen, and probably should not be in our county. Go away. We don't want people like you. So we're doing this. We're just putting stone ring around the outside. I might actually leave these 3 large stones the way they are. They're actually pretty decent. Yeah, let's do that. I love these little sort of acts of serendipity, little acts of accident, if you will. So we'll just pop that down. We'll hit R. I want to rotate that because these guys kind of look a bit too similar. Now what I'm going to do is knock some of these guys over. There we are. Just knock them over so they're kind of laying down a bit. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is nice. Are you going to be able to tell what it is? Yeah, can you tell what it is when you're in the circle? Kind of. Yeah. Kind of. So what I might do is once that's locked in, throw in some bits and pieces, some objects, and then work on the rest of the island around it. That might actually be a good idea. So once we've got these pieces in, yeah, see, the trouble is if we start pushing the terrain around, it means all these objects are going to have to be repositioned. But I think the terrain is smooth enough here, and I like this kind of little ridge. It might not even be visible on camera. If we get the camera low enough, you just see this little ridge, and then here is like a big old pathway, and then got kind of a little stream thing going on. And over here, what we're going to do is throw a lot of palm trees and maybe have some wooden boat wrecks and stuff. And then we can carve away the sand around them to reveal some water. But for the time being, yes, I'm really digging this actually. So let's go grab some trees. Trees everywhere, but not a tree. Oh, yeah. Do we want a tree in the center? Do we want it to be left kind of fairly open? Questions. Well, we're going to hit T. We're going to drop this guy down. If we hit R, can we rotate these guys? You have to be kidding me. When did that happen? What? You can rotate the big old trees. That is a thing. That's actually pretty neat. They would typically grow straight up. But the thing about trees is, in nature, you have half a rock in front of them. No, the thing about trees and plants in general, they grow towards the light. They are living creatures, but they're very, very basic in terms of the things that they do. So they will just go and sort of point straight up if they can. You will find them off to one side if something's happened, like they've been blown over. Now, Scots pines don't tend to blow over. Cook pines might, because of just the way they are. I'm going to get rid of that one because we messed around with it. Question. Can we do the same thing with a palm tree? I'm guessing not, since it's a climbable object. No, palm tree is a climbable object. We can't do that. So yeah, I think it's because if the player goes up one of these, then it's going to they'll get into trouble. That might be a problem for them. Okay, fine. So we have. Oh, that's a really neat thing to find out. You know what? Ah, there we go. Make sure, obviously, that the base is actually jammed in the ground. There we go. Cool. We will grab some pine trees and just throw them around the outside. Around the outside. Just making sure that, you don't see the bottom of the tree. Cool. We got to just keep a little bit of awareness when we are doing stuff like moving the train around afterwards. Where we get some, you think, ficus. The ficus trees. Yeah. Is that going to block out too much? No, okay, that seems cool. So we're keeping the deciduous trees and the evergreens on the interior of the island, because that is where a lot of the seeds are going to end up, typically brought in by birds and various bits and pieces. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, I think this might actually work quite well. Not you, though. Let's bring in, not the Kura tree, ficus tree 1, so the standard ficus tree, cool. Let's do that. What I want is kind of a deep dark forest effect. Hit R. Okay. And is it going to be something that I don't want it to lose it. I might actually get rid of that pine. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I don't want the effect to be lost, but I also don't want it to look kind of massively staged. So we are going to have to put some stuff in here, like plants and various bits and pieces. Let's find under items. It's our log. Driftwood. Morphite. What's it called? Rock. Mine. Rock. L. Lantern. Lashing. No. What is it called? It's one of those things where you are looking for something that you would normally find in about a femtosecond if you were to, it's not under wood, if you were to do this yourself. So if you were just like, oh yeah, whatever. As soon as you hit record, various things start happening. Like your brain literally dissolves into a pile of mush. And while people might say, it's there, it's right there, why can't you see it, Driftwood? It's not there. Maybe it's not an item. Is it? Does it count as a tree? Pine. No, yeah, log counts as a tree. Okay, fine. That's neat, I guess. Yeah, it's always those weird things. Whenever I do anything to do with like any sort of real life footage, as soon as you have to stand in front of a camera, you can know exactly what you've been talking about for ages and ages and ages, and then hit record, your brain just switches off. It is a curious thing, and I don't know why. Never really worked out why. It's something that affects everyone, I think. So we'll throw some logs around, not for resources, but actually just because I think it'd be cool to have them like evidence of people having been here. So we'll just throw them down around the outside. A couple of logs. Log 3. There we go. So we do this. That is wrong. That's also wrong. Give me the green tab. There we go. Hit R and then hit T. I'm just going to put them close to the island. These are actually physics objects. We're going to need to keep an eye on those. Hit R. There we go. Cool. So what we're doing is using these objects just to define the edge of the circle. Again, I don't want to blur the edge, but bearing in mind this place is going to be covered in grass. What I might do is just push the terrain down a little bit. Yeah. Hit the brush. Hit the lever. No, hit the brush. So we're going to take the amount all the way down. Going to hit, make sure it's on lower and knock the size in a bit. Because what I want to do is just very gingerly push the terrain down here. Just clicking away, just to make sure that the world around here is a little bit more. So it looks like there's an actual path around the outside. We're going to have to smooth it as well, so it doesn't matter if it goes too deep or too jagged. And again, along here, that's going to do two things. It's going to reveal some of the sand, which is fine. And it's also going to make sure grass doesn't really spawn on the sand. Yeah, that'd be cool. Right, okay, so I don't think we've exposed any bottoms of the rocks, but they are pretty jammed in the earth, so that's not a problem. As sort of paths of least resistance go, if you do have a reason to walk through here, you're probably going to take this path, the inner path, if you happen to be going towards that beach over there, and not necessarily the outer path. So just stuff like that you just need to be a little bit aware of. So we're going to use the smooth height. I'm going to crank that down a little bit more. There we go. It's going to just smooth off those edges. Cool. Yeah, this is going to be intense or intensive in terms of actually creating an island. Other things, we could probably actually just do the same thing along here. So if we lower it a little bit. Whoa, the amount was cranked all the way up. I really don't like that. But we should be able to fill that hole fairly easily using this. Yeah. Okay, cool. It's actually worthwhile making mistakes in videos like this because the amount is all the way down. Because people are going to make mistakes, and it just kind of shows you how to get over it. It's not a deal breaker. I would like a history palette. That would be kind of cool. Or the ability to use Control Z, that'd be neat as well. So we're just going to try and ease off this the steepness of this terrain, because it looks fine here, but if we get close to the water, we can see it's fairly steep. It's not too bad. I don't think it's too bad at all. So we'll just push this in here. Good. And every little thing we do to the island I mean, we can keep coming back to this, but everything, little thing we do to the island gives us another little thing for our subconscious to work on when we're not actually working on the island. So even if we play around with this kind of Stonehenge in the middle, or little stone ring in the middle, we've done something, we've created a focal point, and then it's like, now we've got that, we can go and focus on something else that ties into the theme of the island. And you find that after a while, things just start slotting in to one another. So we've still got this huge expanse of grass, which kind of goes up to this point here. Now, you could say, well, you can build anything here. You could build a house here overlooking the thing. You could jump off from the cliffs into the sea fairly safely. That's kind of a cool thing. You put the bulk of living quarters on this area here. That's fine. I think this large inlet is actually facing north. Not north as you look at the map in the cartographer, not actual true north, because true north is kind of over there towards that diagonal. But yeah, so I think this inlet might get used quite a bit. The other inlets are strategically placed, so if we come from other islands, so these are all facing other islands, all these big beaches. That's why they're positioned as they are. So we got this thing here. Do I really want to punch through here? Maybe. Do I want to leave it raised up a bit? Also, maybe. Yeah, we really do need to do something here. What I'd probably do is actually cut this further in. So don't really want to crank the amount up because it gets very sensitive. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it anyway. We're going to create ourselves. There's actually several places in Cornwall called Red River. That's probably because they ended up having quite a lot of mining runoff in them, including things like bits of iron, because they were tin miners in Cornwall. So you would have had a lot of various metals and metal oxides in the rivers, which would have discolored them. Also, you had things like explosive works. In Cornwall, there was quite a few large-scale explosive works. It's going to be quite a big old island there. We're going to need hillside, even. Well, technically an island if we've finished off this waterway. So we're going to push this in. So yeah, there's quite a few rivers in Cornwall called Red River, which might not actually show up on a map, not Google Maps anyway, because they tend to be quite small. I know of a bunch of them, and yeah, they made quite a lot of explosives here for mining. So you had things like originally gunpowder factories. So there's a big shopping place called Trago Mills. Well, Trago Mills was actually a gunpowder mill. That's where it gets its original name from. The store itself is, in my opinion, I don't even know what they stock. I think it's just like it's kind of like stuff. But I've never been too encouraged to go there myself. But the history behind the site is actually really quite interesting. So they'd have made gunpowder, which was originally used in the mines. And then they would have used things like nitroglycerin, which comes from nitric acid. So they would have created nitric acid on site, used in a factory, and then they would have taken that to the top of a hill because you can't move nitroglycerin. It has to, in order to move it, you really have to let it trickle down under its own gravity and under its. So you put it in a wooden trough and it sort of moves slowly to other areas on site, and then you mix it with, I think it's wax, in order to stabilize it, and it becomes TN. Is it TNT? Trinitrotoluene? No, it becomes dynamite, which is nitroglycerin and wax. From what I remember, I might be talking out my butt. It's been, like I said, it's been a long and very weird day. So we're just pushing this back, back. It's taking its time. I really want this to be kind of a smooth area. Currently, there's no real reason for a player to ever be in this area, so I'm going to have to think of something to do with it. But all I'm doing is just kind of pushing this back so we can have this kind of little waterway here. This area is okay. I don't mind it being too steep this side, because what we could do is we can use some probably rocks. I don't think I'll use metal work. I want to kind of limit the amount of metal work I use on this island. Here we go. So we can have a little inland stream, which kind of comes from nothing and probably goes nowhere. We'll hit smooth, we'll crank the amount up, and then smooth this all off, which means we're going to lose a lot of the water. Hopefully it was deep enough so that there is at least something that's kind of ankle deep. If we get close enough to it, in fact, is that going to change from... So we might have to do this digging and smoothing a few times. It might just be that the edges of these, this kind of valley that we've placed it in is a little bit too close, which is why the smoothing is not great. Although, to be honest, that doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad. We've got a kind of a long waterway. That's fine. That's fine. We can throw some rocks and stuff over there. In fact, why don't we grab... You look good. So we'll grab you. Press C. And that's the cloned one we're moving. Great. Absolutely brilliant. Right, okay. So we will hit R to rotate. And then we'll do this. Ooh. And this. Okay. And then T. Well, okay, so it's kind of a funny angle. All right. Now, I don't want to block the water off. That's the last thing I want to do. So what we're going to do with this... You can see the thought process here. Can we use that? Would that work? Probably. I don't know. We're going to make a little rock bridge to go across here. That'd be nice. So that we can just kind of run up and over it. If you create like a point of interest, typically players are going to want to interact with it. I meant to clone that first. Sort of like a little rock bridge or something. Players will want to get as high as they can on an island or generally in a map. So if you place a tower or something, players will probably try and climb it. It is a human thing. If you present someone with a mountain, they're going to want to see what the what the deal is with it and what's on top. So I'm going to hit R, just going to rotate that down. Just T, and then just going to push it along. It's going to work. Is this going to work? Because it's at an angle, it's kind of a bit funny. It needs to be at least touching. It doesn't need to be like completely compressed. And the reason for that is if you see rock formations in the real world where rocks have actually fallen, you tend to find that the actual parts that touch, especially if it's granite, there's not a lot of contact. Because these things weigh so much, they just don't move. But there we go. Yeah. What I will do is hit C again and just kind of manipulate that and then pull that back and then push it down so it looks like one contiguous piece. There we go. All right. I might just hit R and just rotate that slightly this way and then T and then pull that in. Yeah, okay. So it's one contiguous piece. Oh, it looks like one contiguous piece. The water still goes underneath, which is nice. It's just touching. There's no air gap between there, so that's kind of cool. But it does mean that the water can still get underneath, which makes sense. Because if you look at something and if it doesn't make any sense, then the player is going to go, what's that? Why is it there? I don't understand. So that's kind of a cool little thing. It also means you are encouraged to run across that. It's like doop 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 doop. You're either encouraged to jump off or you're just encouraged to run over the top, which encourages the player to be on this side. So we're going to have to do something on this side of the island. This side of the island is kind of like, I don't really know what's going on here. This area is, we're going to put some fruit bushes and various bits and pieces. It's kind of a nice area to be. So I'm sure it's going to attract players, or at least us, to be here. This side is good. We need to do something here. What we might do is put some more cliffs in here and then kind of push this all down. I think that's probably something we're actually going to do. So I'm going to hit C. And we're going to hit R. And then hit T. Yeah. R again. T again. Push it back and pull it over. Okay. So I don't want the cliffs to be like an imposing feature, I guess. If we rotate it around. Okay, yep, that's cool. So push that in. No, we're going to have to pull that out. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's okay to have sand and stuff around it. Trouble is this top bit is still kind of... What's going on with this? What is going on with this? There we go. Cool. That's actually pretty neat. These cliffs actually tessellate quite well. I'm happy with that, actually. I'm a lot happier than I was without it, put it that way. So we can have this sort of steep area here because it kind of makes sense that the land, the dirt or the sand is actually going to kind of try and fall around the cliff itself. That's fine. Typically where you have sand in a coastal region, that's it would probably be like ancient sand. It would have built up over time. It may have been when all of this was underwater in times before human beings. So you find like inland sand dunes are typically the sites of old seas. So that's the thing. We're going to go back to the brush. We're going to hit lower. We're going to change the amount right down. Right down. We're going to change the size up though. There we go. So we're going to start pushing this back. Yeah. So it's a process. It's a slow process. But when you can come away with things like, this, it's encouraging. It's encouraging. It's encouraging for yourself as a map creator, I think. When you're sort of looking at a blank canvas like this and thinking, what the heck am I going to do with this? What the Jiminy jumping to, I don't know where that sentence is going. I think that sentence just hit the buffers. Yep. Speaking about hitting the buffers, in the UK, this is just random thoughts. And I suppose when you're just sort of brushing stuff back, you just do tend to have random thoughts. There's only so much I can talk about the brushes, but in the UK, when I was a wee nipper, my dad and I, we went to the railway station over in Didcot. If you don't know it, it's Didcot is probably it's like a town that time forgot. It's such a strange place, but there's quite a big station there. And they had these red vending machines on the wall, and I've never been able to find them. They were like a red vending machine, and they had trays, and you put your money in, and you get out a chocolate bar. Well, the chocolate bar drops into the tray, and then you actually pull the tray out like a drawer. It doesn't just drop into like an area like modern vending machines with a big old flap, and then you just open the flap, and your soda is behind the flap. No, my friends. No, this would drop it down from a stack into a little stainless tray, and then you would open the tray up. So putting the money in just literally unlocked the tray. That's what it did. I've never been able to find those vending machines. I thought it'd be cool to like have one, like own one, and it's just like it's almost as if they never existed. So I'm wondering if it was just a specific thing for that railway station. But no, those kind of things are fascinating. So we're just kind of pushing the terrain back, kind of idly. We need to do something with this, so we're going to push this back as well. I'm going to be quite harsh with it because I'm about to use a smoothing brush. And we know with smoothing, it's going to pull that all back up again. So we're going to get rid of that sort of harshness. But also, there's no like real sharp angles in nature. I mean, there is if something's just sheared off, or you find a bit of Lego on the beach, then there is a sharp angle in nature, especially if you step on it. That would be unfortunate. Miles and miles of sand in the middle of nowhere, and you step on the only bit of Lego for miles around. Oof, that's got to be harsh. And then the world is out to get you. So we're just kind of smoothing that area off. That's kind of neat. I wish there was a way of toggling before and after, but yeah, that's kind of cool. And it creates this neat little path. There we go, straight into that area there. We've got another path over here, so we can probably do something with shrubs and stuff to encourage people. So what you do is you come in. We need to sort of level this area off as well, because typically what we'll probably end up doing is landing the raft here, because it's the largest, flattest area, and not slamming it into the world here. So what we might do is just flatten a little bit more of this area off here using that tool. That's neat. That really is neat. Yeah. So we're just kind of pushing this in, making sure we're not taking any height away from these trees, exposing our roots. Okay, that's cool. Let's push this in as well. You do find that peninsulas tend to kind of jut out. There's probably a large amount of rock underneath them, sort of in odd ways. That's okay. Looks a little bit unnatural, but we're going to smooth that off. Grab the amount up. There we go. Should create some... is that too steep? That is too steep. We're going to have to do something with that. Probably end up lowering it in sort of towards the edge. Do that now? Do that now. So we'll change the amount down because we're going to be using the lower tool and just push this in here. Also, incidentally, creating another path across the island. So it's all about creating paths. All about creating paths. Push, 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 push. Come on. How far down do we need to go? It's real hard to see. Yeah, good. So this island here, we haven't, this bit of land here, we haven't actually sort of worked out what we're going to do with this. I'm thinking we can do some sort of rock structure here. That'd be kind of neat. But yeah, at the moment, this is a very steep bit of land, actually. Yeah, that's real steep. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to path across. So we probably end up with these like rabbit warren of paths and various bits and pieces. Might use some stone to denote where the paths go, as if some sort of ancient peoples once lived on this island. So that's the kind of theme we're going for. So yeah, that's kind of neat. Push this back. I do want to keep this kind of hill here, so we're just going to push this back. Push it back this side as well. Again, we can get rid of these cliffs, or we can do something with them to make them a feature. All right, so that's good. That's good. Let's push this in. Yeah, I can see where this is going now. That's good. So we have kind of worked on a focal point on the center of the island, which is good. We started thinking about how we're going to path around the island, which is also good. We've got the kind of living area, this kind of large area here, and it is a very large area. If we put down a wreck on it, we see exactly how large it is. We've got these kind of paths coming through. We're going to set the amount up a little bit more and just smooth this off. So there's a constant sort of brushing and smoothing, but I just don't want jagged edges. And that's a lot better already. Kind of gets rid of that sort of unnatural bank of dirt there. If we smooth that, that's probably going to act differently to the... okay, no. We can get back to it. Ooh. Well. Doesn't look like a lot's happened, but a lot has happened. And like an awful lot. We've got this here, which gives us kind of an idea of how we're going. We've got the river. The river's kind of more penciled in. Well, we can always cut it deeper if we want, but doesn't make too much sense. We've got this little bridge thing going on. We got a little dude, which I think, I mean, the two barrels are probably more use than the arms and everything, but it kind of gives us an idea of how everything is going to look to us if we go down to... Wow, if we go onto the island, everything gets a bit terrifying, actually. There we go. Accidentally clipped through the terrain. Fine, not a problem. Yeah, I think this is going to be good. Good. So you know what? I'm going to leave it there for the time being. What we're going to do is we're going to go away. We're going to think about this a little bit more. We're going to work on it just piece by piece. There's no rush. That's the important thing. When you're creating an island, I wouldn't say, oh, I have to have it done by the end of the week. No, just take your time. Just go with what's there. Go away. I think the most important bit is go away and have it in the back of your mind, and then come back and think, yes, actually, this is working real well. Or actually, what I want to do is just tweak things a little bit, or just start putting a few bits into the map and see if you can't have a little Bob Ross happy little accident. Yeah, I think that's kind of nice. You know what? I'm going to leave it there, though. So if you're liking this series, definitely leave a subscribe, leave a like, tell your friends about the channel, share the video, or, I don't know, do stuff, do things. I'm going off to get dinner because it's real late. And you know what? I will catch you guys next time.